Welcome to the final experiments. The final experiments are a preponderance of evidence against flat Earth, and the final experiments all confirm the globe. These experiments were all conducted in December of 2024 when 4 flat earthers and 4 globers went on a journey to Antarctica with me, Will Duffy. We spent time in Punta Arenas, Chile, which is at the southern tip of South America, before flying to Antarctica. This entire trip allowed us to conduct historic experiments and collect data firsthand from an area of the world that few people will ever have the opportunity to visit and do this themselves. Prior to my announcement of the final experiment in early 2024, a vast majority of flat earthers, with very few exceptions, promoted the Gleason's map of the world, which is an azimuthal equidistant projection. This map had the North Pole at the center and pushed the south to the outer perimeter of the known world. This made Antarctica an ice wall perimeter around all the world's continents, which served to hold in all the world's oceans. As flat earthers claim, water must have a container. It also extends the entire southern hemisphere into a larger and larger area where on the globe, everything south of the equator gets closer and closer together. This made being at the southern tip of South America and in Antarctica the perfect place to test flat Earth claims and also confirm the globe predictions. Every single flat Earth claim failed. Every flat Earth prediction was demonstrably false. The final experiments are meant to be taken collectively, just like evidence in a court of law. Undoubtedly, flat earthers will attempt to discredit individual experiments we did, while at the same time ignoring the rest. If they cannot provide an accurate map of the world, and a working model that can account for the results of all of these final experiments collectively, that is because we do not live on a flat Earth. If they try to say these experiments are not actual experiments, but only observations, that is because they cannot reconcile our findings with a flat Earth. If they say that flat Earth does not make predictions, that is because making accurate and testable predictions based on a flat Earth is impossible because a flat Earth does not exist. You cannot make and test predictions based on something that is not real. Maps of the globe exist because the globe exists. The entire globe model exists because the globe exists. Countless globe predictions come true every single day, and countless future globe predictions will continue to happen exactly as predicted because the globe exists. If a flat earther tells you that there is no accurate flat Earth map and there is no working flat Earth model and that they don't make predictions, that is an implicit admission that a flat Earth does not exist. Because you can map things that exist. You can model things that exist. And you can make very specific predictions that come true based on something that actually exists and is testable. I created the final experiment to give both sides, flat Earth and globe, an equal opportunity to prove their side. Only the globe side returned with evidence supporting their position. The globe side returned with tons of concrete evidence that both accurately matches the globe model and also falsifies flat Earth. This brings us to the distance between meridians, specifically southern meridians, which confirm that the Earth measures curved. Meridians, more commonly known as lines of longitude, are imaginary lines that run north and south on the Earth from pole to pole. And these lines of longitude represent one of the most significant differences between the globe and a flat Earth. As I already mentioned, on the globe, everything south of the equator gets closer and closer together, eventually coming to a single geographic point, the South Pole. But on a flat Earth, everything south of the equator extends into a larger and larger area indefinitely. Here, flat earther Eric Dubé correctly assert what lines of longitude would do if we live on a globe versus a flat Earth.
If the Earth were a globe, lines of longitude would bubble out at the equator while converging at the poles, whereas if Earth is an extended plane, lines of longitude should simply expand straight outwards from the North Pole. So which is actually the case?
And that is the question. Which is actually the case? Do lines of longitude get closer together south of the equator, eventually converging at a geographic South Pole? Or do they diverge from one another, constantly increasing the distance between them as you head further south? Now, I need to mention something very important throughout this video, and that is what's known as the burden of proof. When someone makes a positive claim, the burden of proof lies with them to give evidence of and attempt to prove their positive claim.
If you make any positive claims, you have the burden of proof, right? If you say the Earth is flat, yeah, you have a burden of proof for that. Absolutely.
Austin is correct here. When a flat earther claims the Earth is flat, that is a positive claim. And so the burden of proof means they need to provide evidence that the Earth is flat. If you've noticed that flat earthers essentially refuse to do this, your observation is correct. When you ask a flat earther for evidence that the Earth is flat, they will undoubtedly revert to talking about the globe. So they have not satisfied the burden of proof for their positive claim that the Earth is flat. And they also go out of their way to avoid making positive claims in an attempt to escape the burden of proof and to avoid having to provide any evidence. Despite their calculated effort at not making any positive claims, they still make quite a few of them. One of the most repeated claims from flat earthers is that the Earth measures flat. This is another positive claim made by them, and you can't listen to flat Earth content very long before hearing them boldly state this claim that the Earth measures flat.
Right. To prove the Earth is flat, you don't need to speculate what's beyond 60 degrees south. You don't need to speculate what the sky is made out of. You just need to measure the Earth, and the Earth measures flat.
So I don't know what this thing was in Antarctica. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is the Earth is measured flat.
We'll shove it right in your faces. It's flat. It measures flat. It photographs flat. It is flat.
The Earth measures flat. Literally.
Yes, everywhere you measure on this Earth is going to be flat.
Okay, so yeah, the Earth is measured flat.
Earth looks flat, tests flat, and measures flat.
Everything's measured flat.
The Earth is measured flat.
The Earth measures flat.
The surface of the Earth, again, measures flat.
The Earth is measured flat.
No matter what it is, the Earth still measures flat.
As I said, this is one of the most repeated claims by flat earthers. So who has the burden of proof here?
If you make any positive claims, you have the burden of proof.
Despite having heard this Earth measures flat claim myself countless times, something is glaringly missing. What would any rational person expect to accompany a claim that the Earth measures flat? That's right, measurements. You know, evidence to back their claim. But flat earthers never seem to give any flat Earth measurements. They just make the claim that the Earth measures flat and leave it at that. And I'm not the only one who has noticed this.
When flat earthers say that they think that the Earth is flat, and they say things like Earth is measured flat, you ask them, can you provide the measurements? They never can. But, you know, they like to say it's measured flat, but when you ask for these measurements, you never get any. Monkey Cat Pat Pat says no matter what you do, it's always measured flat. Yeah, somehow, but they never produce these measurements. Because no person listens to Earth is measured flat and then thinks, oh, okay. Right? That's not it. That's not the end of it. Right? That's the claim. Next, show the measurements.
Our Earth is not a planet. Says Earth is measured flat as your heart is. Nathan Oakley, you fear most, don't you? You lie. You fear Nathan Oakley. This seems like a Poe. Are you a Poe? So the whenever a flat Earth is you know, they like to say this. Whenever they say that, the next thing is, okay, let's see the measurements. Right? Just saying things is not anything. You actually have to do the work. You have to provide the measurements. So
the Earth measures flat. Can we get back to that?
Oh, sure.
Can
you send the measurements, please?
Well, I can't go give you measurements for you, partner. You got to do that yourself.
Yeah, you specifically made the claim that the Earth measures flat. Now you have the burden of evidence to support that claim. Go ahead.
No, that's not correct. You have the burden of.
I mean, you didn't present any measurements, so what are we supposed to do with your non-measurement?
Our measurements a lot when the Earth is measured flat, which is irrelevant. But you keep asking for measurements.
You say the Earth is flat, but don't have measurements of it.
You want complete measurements when it's being measured flat.
So you say, but don't have any measurements.
And it's all flat, right? It's all measured flat, or whatever you want to call it. Flat,
that's your claim. So now it's on you to present the measurements.
All right, so you're just gonna say nuh-uh. All right, next. Do you
No.
think we went to the moon?
That hold on. That's not a nuh-uh. That's a normal thing. That's a normal thing that is part of a debate. That you make a claim, and then you have the burden of evidence. Now you have the burden of proof to show the measurements. Bring forth the measurements.
Lakes, easily.
Bring forth the measurements.
Like, what? You want me to do geometry on water? You want me to do algebra on water?
So it's very apparent that this claim from flat earthers, that the Earth measures flat, has no evidence to back it up. And a claim without evidence is just a claim. Now, there is one flat earther in particular who has made this very claim his sole battle cry. If you bring up any other talking point, he will avoid that and just incessantly tell you that the Earth is measured flat. And this one-trick pony actually received a call from a TFE participant while we were in Antarctica.
Oh, it's McToon. Is that the real McToon?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm in Antarctica. The sun did not set 24 hours.
You know Earth's measured flat, though,
Turns
right,
out,
Toon?
Hey, Nathan, you lied.
You know Earth's measured
Robert
flat, though,
Shortman
right,
lied.
Toon?
Yeah, you're a liar, Nathan. You're a liar. You said the sun sets. You lied. Caught you.
I lied about the sun. That doesn't change how Earth is measured.
You
It's
certainly-
measured flat.
Absolutely 100% lied about the Earth.
I've asked him if he appreciates Earth's measured flat, and now he's rumpusing.
Nathan, stop talking. Stop changing the topic, Nathan.
Earth's measured flat, Toon, like in your challenge. Your elevation angles are flat Earth measurements, Toon.
Nathan, you said I would get turned away at gunpoint. I did not. I did not get...
I have not said anything of the sort, but we'll rattle them off. These claims of what I've said that Toon says. Notice they've not got quotes around them yet. Meanwhile, Toon's challenge utilised a flat Earth
Nathan,
measurement.
You are changing the topic, Nathan. I am walking around outside in Antarctica right now.
Do you accept that Earth is measured flat?
Overnight, last
Do
night.
you
Listen
accept
to me,
that Earth
Nathan.
is measured flat?
You said the sun sets. You said that if people tried to go to Antarctica, they would get turned away at gunpoint.
I did not say that. Earth's measured flat and Toon doesn't want to communicate with me. His only tactic is to incessantly talk so he doesn't have to listen to anything I put to him.
If they don't immediately demand that you stop lying, you need to stop now, Nathan.
Yeah, I heard you. Okay, I'll take that under consideration, Toon. I'll try and stop lying. Will you accept the Earth being measured flat with your angle measurements in your 10K challenge there, Toon?
Get off the internet. Stop putting your lies out there. You're running from the topic, Nathan.
Flat earther Nathan Oakley's sacred mantra is the 4-word phrase, Earth is measured flat. And he doesn't hide that this is his calculated tactic and encourages others to do the same.
But I want to do a call to action. I've said it 3 times and I'm going to reiterate it again. Yeah, this is the most empowering time since I've been in this subject. I've been here 10 years almost. And in that entire time, I cannot think of a single thing that is more empowering than the statements we're currently making in 2024, that Earth is measured flat. And as an audience, I hope you can round out on that note, which is to say, go forth and tell people that. If you're going to engage in this discussion, start on the front foot by telling people how Earth is dealt with. It is flat.
Now, Nathan Oakley at least makes an attempt to give evidence for his claim. He says that elevation angles are flat Earth measurements. When MC Toon called him from Antarctica to let him know that the sun never set for an entire 24 hours and that we weren't turned away at gunpoint, Nathan Oakley immediately started saying the Earth measures flat and that MC Toon's challenge used flat Earth measurements. He's referring to MC Toon's Celestial Navigation Challenge. MC Toon has a Celestial Navigation Challenge where he will award $10,000 to any flat earther who can demonstrate how celestial navigation works on a flat Earth. No one has collected the prize money because we live on a globe and celestial navigation would not work on a flat Earth. And after Ruhif debated a flat earther on celestial navigation a couple years ago, and that flat earther was not able to even begin to show how celestial navigation works on a flat Earth, I highly doubt any flat earther will ever again consider debating this topic. And if celestial navigation worked on a flat Earth, there would be dozens of videos from flat earthers responding to MC Toon's challenge and demanding their $10,000 payout. So why then does Nathan Oakley claim that MC Toon's challenge uses flat Earth measurements? Well, he has concocted an argument that elevation angle measurements require a flat Earth. You may have even heard Nathan Oakley say that the globe came from flat Earth measurements.
Welcome to Flat Earth. Those latitude lines are measured on a flat baseline. A flat Earth, it's an elevation angle. Elevation from the surface, which is flat, it's an angle. Earth's measured flat for those lines you don't deny the measurement of. What I do care about is elevation angles, which we measure the Earth with and then map the Earth with and survey the Earth with. Horizontal planes of reference. That's how we measure Earth. I'm here as a flat earther and telling you how Earth's measured. Flat.
His argument is completely false, and nothing could be further from the truth. He thinks there are triangles used in celestial navigation, and he thinks the Earth is the baseline when taking elevation angles. And he will frequently put up pictures of triangles as he repeats his sacred mantra, Earth is measured flat, Earth is measured flat. There's just one massive problem. There are no triangles with celestial navigation. And the Earth is not the baseline for elevation angle measurements. His entire argument collapses from the very beginning. Anyone who has done celestial navigation or used a sextant knows there are no triangles used in the process. And they also know that the baseline for the elevation angle never touches the Earth, as it's an angle created by the observer's horizontal and whatever the observer is looking at. The observer's horizontal is above the surface of the Earth at the point where he or she is standing and is above the horizon away from the observer as the Earth dips down from the observer in all directions. The mere fact that there are no triangles used when it comes to celestial navigation, and the fact that the Earth is not the baseline when taking elevation angles, means Nathan Oakley's argument falls completely flat. Pun intended. One other argument you will hear him make is that you need a horizontal plane for celestial navigation and obtaining elevation angles. And what he seems to have forgotten is that the horizontal plane in celestial navigation is imaginary. Yes, the horizontal plane used when taking an elevation angle is imaginary. And that's because a horizontal plane does not exist on the actual surface of the Earth. There is not a single horizontal plane anywhere on our natural Earth. On land, you have terrain such as hills, mountains, and valleys. So you won't find a horizontal plane anywhere on the land. And the ocean has tides and waves and is in constant motion, so no horizontal plane there either. But more importantly, if you are using a sextant at sea and you use the horizon as your stable reference point for celestial navigation and obtaining an elevation angle, you have to apply a dip correction because the horizon drops in all directions away from you. Again, this is because we live on a sphere and because the observer's horizontal is above the visible horizon. This reminds me of yet another positive claim made by flat earthers, which is that the horizon rises to eye level.
The horizon rises to your eye level.
The horizon is flat and rises towards eye level.
The horizon rises to eye level.
The horizon rises along with the observer, no matter how high.
The model on the right shows what would happen on a flat Earth as the horizon rises to eye level.
But since we are on a flat plane, you have to see that the horizon rises to the eye level.
So add this to the growing list of positive claims made by flat earthers, which gives them the burden of proof.
If you make any positive claims, you have the burden of proof.
And this is yet another positive claim to which they fail to ever give any evidence or measurements in an attempt to prove their claim. In reality, there is what's known as the dip of the horizon, and this is where the horizon does the exact opposite of what flat earthers claim it does, and it drops as you increase in altitude. And this is exactly what the globe predicts. This can be seen with relatively inexpensive surveying equipment, as Ruhif demonstrated here using an auto level. As you can see, as he went higher in altitude, the horizon dropped. And anyone can do this themselves with a simple device that can be made for just a few dollars at your local hardware store. The results are always the same. The horizon drops the higher the observer. And the flat earth claim that the horizon rises to eye level is demonstrably false. So this is why the horizontal plane used in celestial navigation and for elevation angles is imaginary. It does not exist. And this is why when you use the horizon to measure an elevation angle, you must also use a dip correction to account for the height of the observer and the dip of the horizon because we live on a sphere. Seeing as Nathan Oakley's only argument is false on its face, I'm not sure what else he has left. This might explain why he recently came out offering to come on other YouTube channels for a fee.
I'm going to tell you about the 3 ways you can get in contact and communicate with Nathan Oakley. Number 1, you can join my live streams weekdays at 2 p.m. for free. Number 2, you can pay me to come onto your show. Get in touch at nathanoakley1980@aol.com and we can arrange a fee for me to be on your show.
A former flat earther, Ranty, who runs the YouTube channel Auditing the Absurd, accepted his offer and told Nathan Oakley that he would have Oakley on his Auditing the Absurd channel and would gladly pay his fee. And despite literally just making this offer a couple weeks ago, Oakley won't do it. In response to Ranty's willingness to accept Oakley's own offer to come on another channel for a fee and his willingness to pay Oakley his fee, Oakley declined. And his response was so vile, I can't even show it, as TFE is a family-friendly channel. Does that remind you of anything? It's so similar to all those flat earthers, including Nathan Oakley himself, who turned down all expenses paid trips to come to Antarctica with TFE. Flat earthers said for years that Antarctica held the key to the truth about the world we live in. They said for years that they wanted to go to Antarctica to show the world the truth. And they said that this whole debate could be settled by simply going to Antarctica and seeing what the sun does. But as soon as I announced the final experiment would go to Antarctica and that I would be paying for participants from both sides to participate, the flat earthers quickly changed their tune. So many of them turned down the opportunity, even at no out-of-pocket cost to them. This is eerily similar to what has transpired between Oakley and Ranty. Oakley says he will come on other channels for a fee. Ranty accepts his offer and agrees to pay his fee, and now he won't do it. What does this tell you? I think it's obvious. Since flat earthers have no evidence for their claims that the earth is flat, that the earth is measured flat, and that the horizon rises to eye level, where do they go from here? Well, they have yet another positive claim, which was briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video. And that's the claim that if we live on a flat earth, lines of longitude would diverge indefinitely. That lines of longitude would get further and further apart as you travel south.
And on our planar Earth, lines of longitude only converge upon the North Pole center point and project out straight southwards from there.
Once again, this is a positive claim made by flat earthers, and so they have the burden of proof.
If you make any positive claims, you have the burden of proof.
What evidence do they have that the distance between meridians increases more and more as you head south? Surprise! Once again, they make this positive claim without providing any evidence or any measurements. They don't even make an attempt at satisfying the burden of proof here, and I think it's clear why. Well, in fairness, the globe makes a positive claim here, too. The globe claims that lines of longitude converge, get closer together as you head south of the equator. The globe says that the meridians keep getting closer and closer together, eventually meeting at the geographic South Pole. This is the globe's positive claim, and therefore the burden of proof lies with the globe side to provide evidence and measurements for this claim. And I'm extremely excited to announce that the globe team took those measurements as part of TFE. We took measurements in both Punta Arenas, Chile, and Union Glacier, Antarctica. Spoiler alert, the Earth measures curved. Our hotel in Chile was located on a street that had a long stretch running almost due east and west. And we used both a GPS unit and trundle wheel to measure an east to west distance. We were so far south, near 53 degrees south, that distances between lines of longitude are significantly shorter compared to at the equator. Contrast that to the flat Earth model, which would require very significant distances between meridians that far south. Based on a globe radius of 6,371 kilometers, the globe model predicts a distance of approximately 67 kilometers between lines of longitude at our location right at 53 degrees south. Contrast that to a flat Earth as represented by Gleason's map, which predicts a distance of approximately 278 kilometers between lines of longitude that far south. This is a difference between the two models of almost 211 kilometers, which is over 131 miles. To be clear, if the Earth is flat, the distance between lines of longitude at 53 degrees south of the equator should be a whopping 131 miles greater than what the globe model predicts. This is such a significant difference that it should be very easy to determine which model is correct, and with numbers this varied, both cannot be right. We found the longest stretch we could find where we could walk directly due east and west in a straight line. And we walked it 4 times with both a GPS unit and a trundle wheel. Based on the globe model with an R value of 6371, the distance we traveled between the meridians should be approximately 263 meters. And on a flat Earth, that distance should be 1,100 meters. After taking the measurement 4 times, the average distance was 265 meters. That means the globe model's prediction and our measurements had an error magnitude of 0.99. An error magnitude of 1.0 means the results were identical to the prediction. And the error magnitude for the flat Earth prediction was 4.14. This means the flat Earth prediction was over 4 times greater than what we find in reality. What does this mean? The Earth measures curved. And unlike the flat Earth side, who have no measurements or data showing that Earth is measured flat, we have the measurements and data confirming that Earth measures curved. Flat Earthers can no longer say the Earth measures flat when they've been shown this data from TFE. Their debunked claim is nothing more than a baseless claim. As we planned on traveling even further south to close to 80 degrees south in Antarctica, this means the lines of longitude would get even closer together on the globe and even further apart on a flat Earth. At Union Glacier Camp in Antarctica, the globe model predicted just 19.8 kilometers between lines of longitude where we were between 79 and 80 degrees south. Contrast that to the flat Earth model, which predicts 329 kilometers between lines of longitude at that location. This is a staggering difference in prediction of almost 310 kilometers, which is over 192 miles. After finding a groomed area that was safe for us to take measurements without the risk of falling into a crevasse, we again walked and took 4 measurements with a GPS unit and trundle wheel. Based on the globe model with an R value of 6371, the distance between meridians should be approximately 68 meters. And on a flat Earth, that distance should be 1,130 meters. The trundle wheel really struggled on the compacted snow and ice. And despite that, we measured an average of 63 meters. This, of course, aligns way closer with the globe model, but did have an error magnitude of 1.08. So we took one more measurement with a laser rangefinder, which helped us overcome the struggle with the trundle wheel, and got a measurement of 67.64 meters, just 3 centimeters off from the globe's prediction. And the flat Earth prediction was way off, this time with an error magnitude of over 16. The numbers don't lie. The Earth measures curved. The Earth measures curved. Now, the globe has a symmetry between the northern and southern hemispheres, a symmetry that would never exist on a flat Earth. And so the icing on the cake would be if we could also get a measurement at 53 degrees north of the equator to compare it with our measurements at 53 degrees south. As chance would have it, someone on the TFE Globe team just so happens to live right near 53 degrees north.
Hello everybody, hope you're doing well and thanks for joining us for another video.
53 degrees north runs straight through England, which happens to be Dave McKeegan's and Rusty's backyard. So Dave found a long stretch of road that ran due east and west, and measured again with a GPS unit and trundle wheel. And again, since there is global symmetry between the northern and southern hemispheres, the globe's prediction for distance between lines of longitude at 53 degrees north was also approximately 67 kilometers, just like at 53 degrees south. Based on the globe model with an R value of 6371, this long stretch of road should cover 359 meters of distance between meridians. And Dave's trundle wheel ended up at 363.2 meters. This is an error magnitude again of 0.99. Why? Because the Earth measures curved. The Earth measures curved, and that positive claim by the globe side has solid evidence to back it up. Our burden of proof has been met with actual, physical, verifiable, repeatable measurements. One side has baseless claims, the other has rigorous data. And the reason for this is clear. The Earth measures curved. There is a link in the description below to all of our original data. Now it's my turn to make a prediction. And since flat earthers have no measurements or data to back up their positive claim that the Earth is measured flat, I predict they are going to start simply saying that the Earth looks flat, that it appears flat, that you can't see any curvature with the naked eye. And here's why that's a really bad argument, and why flat earthers of all people should know better. First, the globe model does not claim that the world should appear curved from the surface. The globe model does not say that when you look out over the ocean, you should see left to right curvature. In fact, the globe model says you should not see curvature, and that's due to both the size and shape of the globe. But what else flat earthers have missed is even more important. And it was written down thousands of years ago. Proverbs 25:2 says, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter." God cloaked his creation in mystery, and that was for our benefit. We are supposed to search out his creation, and what an incredibly exciting proposition. Can anything be more exciting than exploring and learning more about the world we live in? The Earth indeed appears flat from the surface, just as the globe model predicts, but the actual shape of the Earth, the beautiful sphere we live on, was concealed by God for us to figure out. And we are now living in the 21st century, incredibly fortunate to be on the side of history that has uncovered this great mystery. And I look forward to what great mysteries we will solve next. I originally created the final experiment, specifically to observe and record the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. But every step of the way through our journey, other flat Earth predictions kept being falsified, and the globe model was confirmed over and over and over again. Make sure to check out all of these in our other videos in the Final Experiments series. And please share this video with anyone you know who is a flat earther or considering flat Earth or claims the Earth is measured flat. As Jesus said in John 8:32, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free."
Anything that would prove the Earth is a globe, the globe science community lies about. For example, the 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
You know, you're going to see stories where people are saying flat Earth is dead. You know, the circling sun in Antarctica proves it. No, the circling sun in Antarctica doesn't prove anything.
You know, this would be easy to prove, but they hide this from us too. All we'd have to prove is go to Antarctica. Let me and you go to Antarctica, spend a week there in the summer, and let's see if the sun does a 360-degree circle all the way around us. If so, it's a ball.
Let me just say this at the outset here about the so-called final experiment and them allegedly seeing the sun move in a circle around them in Antarctica. Let me just go and tell you right now. You don't think Satan could pull that off? Why is everybody up in arms? See, one reason I've sat back and just watched all the hoopla about all this, because I'm like, I don't care if you see 15 suns in the sky and they do whirlabouts.
Why in 2024 is it needed for a bunch of amateurs to prove a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? It should have been settled 70 years ago already. Like, why is every 24-hour Antarctic sun so obviously fake? Yeah, I don't think they're going to see a 24-hour sun there. I don't think it exists.
So I don't understand why everybody is freaking out about the sky. Like, some of us have been thinking about this for a while. Some of us started out watching the sun, like me. And I realized very early on that every single sky observation matches the globe. Every single one that I made matches the globe from 10 years ago. So I stopped doing that.
My position would be, wow, the 24-hour sun happens and that perfectly matches the globe prediction and is not in any way what the flat Earth that we understand it to be would predict. I'd have to reevaluate everything, the entire situation. But I would absolutely reevaluate the entire thing. I wouldn't lie about any of it.
What would be your alternate hypothesis?
I don't know. That's why I would be honest about the whole situation. I just said I would immediately step more in the direction of the globe than I've ever been as a possibility and say, okay, I have to reconsider everything.
To lay out kind of the issue with the South Pole claim and what happened in Antarctica, right? It's really simple. It's just an illogical premise, right? Because it affirms the consequent. And in its core, it's an appeal to incredulity. This is why I did not flip to the globe. That is my answer, is that to maintain logical consistency, I could not have flipped on all of the logical foundation, the evidences, the refutations, simply because I, at one point, didn't understand how something worked. If I were to say, oh, well, I can't see how this would work on a flat Earth, therefore it can't be flat, therefore it must be a globe, that's called an appeal to incredulity, meaning I don't understand it, so it can't be true.
Are you able to answer the question about 24 hours of light in Antarctica on a...
I've interviewed a guy who's not experienced 24 hours of daylight in Antarctica. He spent 18 months there. Have you ever spoken to anybody ever that's been in Antarctica? Because I spoke to a chap who was a plumber on one of the rigs that's out there and spent 18 months there and categorically stated he didn't experience 24 hours sunlight. So, unless you've been in Antarctica and can top Robert Shortman's personal testimony that doesn't happen, I think we'll stick with your original claim that there's pictures of Earth from a sky vacuum outside sphere-shaped air, because that's about the 12th time I've put it to you, and like a total coward, you haven't acknowledged it once.
I know at least a half dozen people who have lived and worked in Antarctica, and their claims would refute your experts.
Excellent. Where are they published?
Are they published?
Yeah, published? What, like actually prove what I've just claimed, even though I'm a nobody nobody's ever met, and I'm claiming somebody that nobody's met that hasn't met me is actually proof that there's actually a refutation to your claim of a guy who's actually on videotape saying it? Yeah, where's the videotaped evidence of this person's testimony that I can find? Where's the account published?
I can easily provide that for you. Are you suggesting, though...
Go on then, now.
Therefore, it...
Go on then.
Are you suggesting...
Go on then. Let's see it. You said I can easily provide that for you.
Or it's true.
Sorry, are you going to ignore me?
No.
So go on then. Let's see it right now.
I
can stutter like a bitch, or you can provide it right now.
Well, I don't have it with me right
now. Oh, so you can't? You fucking lying scumbag shithead. Next time I ask Toon that, It'll be the 100th time I've put it to him, and he's run like a coward. No joke. Earth is measured flat. For anybody listening who was wondering if Earth was flat or a globe based on what the sun does in Antarctica, know this. Like Toon knows it. Earth is measured flat.